I'm Bob Harris of Decorative Concrete Institute. Welcome to Duramin's training and educational series for industrial and decorative flooring systems. On this panel, we're getting ready to install conwood. That's a real popular application where you put a real thin cementitious topping down and make it look like wood, have the appearance of wood, and of course we'll show you some coloring techniques to bring it over the top. But the surface preparation is really important. This product can be used both inside and outside. Read the Duramin tech data on how to prepare the surface. It could be on an interior floor as simple as using 36 grit sandpaper or a standing screen. You do want to open the pores a little bit, and outside you could use a grinder or sanding discs that attach to the bottom of a swing buffer as well to open the pores. And what we're doing is we've prepared the surface and cleaned the surface, and now we're rolling down a coat of CP1000, which is an acrylic priming system that closes the pores of the concrete. It's important for a couple of reasons. Number one is adhesion, but also you want to seal the pores of the concrete so it allows you time to put the material down. If we were to go over untreated concrete, the skim coat or the conwood would just dry so quickly you wouldn't have an opportunity to get it down over the entire surface. So this is the application of CP1000. Once this is dry, we'll come back and we'll put down our base coat. The conwood requires several coats, and generally what we'll do is we'll tint the first coat. We'll call that the base coat. We'll give that the sufficient necessary time for drying, and then we'll tape out our design using a filament tape. And then of course we'll go with our texture coat once we've taped out our design. We're getting ready to install a product that's called conwood. This is a unique product in the sense that it's specifically designed to create a faux textured wood. The unique feature about this product is the type of sands that they use. When you actually drag utensils or devices through the wet mix, it doesn't pull the sands. It doesn't have an angular sand, it has a rounded sand. So to recap what we've done up until this point, prior to the installation of the product, is we've prepped our concrete panel. Generally we use a 60 grit sanding screen to open up the pores of the concrete, and then we vacuumed and damp mopped that surface so there's no dust particulate, and then we bonded with CP1000. So we've got a bonding primer down over the concrete. For this type of installation, the CP1000 usually dries a minimum of 2 to 4 hours, and then you're ready to go over it with the conwood. Now you only need one application of the CP1000, whether it's inside or outside. The mix ratio for conwood is 6 quarts of water to 1 unit or 1 bag of material like you see here. What we're going to do is we're going to pre-tint this material. This is considered our base coat. So to create the faux wood, generally it's 2 applications. So you put a colored base coat down first, and then once that dries, a minimum of 4 to 5 hours, depending on the site conditions, then you would tape out your design and go with a contrasting color with the same product and start to create your second application of the conwood, and that's where you would drag your either brooms or steel lath or something through it to create the texture. So all we're doing right now for this installation is putting the base coat down. A couple observations. With this type of mixing paddle, it's not a good idea to use plastic buckets because the sharpness of this edge of this paddle when you're mixing inside of plastic buckets tends to shred the inside of the bucket, and then of course those fibers end up into our wet mix. So for that reason I like to use metal mixing buckets like we're about to use here. Safety is no game. Always remember, like we talk about in all the Duramin videos, when working with cement-based products, a minimum, wear a dust mask, safety glasses, non-absorbent gloves. Cement is caustic and can cause some pretty severe skin irritations. So with that, we're going to mix for 2 minutes. We're going to let this product induce. That's called an induction period. And what that means is we want the water in the mix to completely saturate the cement grain or the cement particle. Think of it as a sponge. A sponge absorbs water, and that's the same thing that this is happening. So if you mix immediately and go right onto the floor, there's a good chance that it's going to dry too quickly. So by waiting just as little as a minute, it allows the moisture to fully saturate out the cement grain, and it extends the working time for the mix. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start off by using Color Fast charcoal suede into the water to create colored water, and then of course we'll dump our powder into the bucket. hang on a sec. How about the other 2 quarts? We've mixed our conwood for 3 minutes and now it's time to install it. It's a matter of personal preference as far as using a hand trowel versus a magic trowel. The magic trowel works really well, that's good. On this, it's pretty thick as you can see, so I can really skim it down tight with a hand trowel. And the goal is to just get a nice tight coat down with not creating a lot of trowel lines. So in order to do that, you really put it down tight. And sometimes too, depending on the product, we'll use both methods. So we could have one person applying with a trowel and one person touching up with a magic trowel. You don't want to dump large volumes because you can see how far this material goes. So here is where we could, now that we have it down, come in here and just do a touch-up. Clean your magic trowel each time. So when you magic trowel, I want you to watch what I'm doing is if I come this direction, watch my wrist. My wrist actually twists and I apply more pressure. If I come this direction, my wrist is twisting this way. So I'm feather edging the outer edge. So for example, watch my wrist. If I didn't twist like that, watch the line out here. You see more of a line. So by just feather edging it, like so, and you notice I clean my magic trowel each time. All right. We got plenty. This is still going a long way. Like almost enough to do the panel. We're working on our conwood panel here that we put the conwood base coat for our wood texture. However, we decided to show another example of other opportunities when working with products. So our guys have taped out a nice flagstone and an ashlar slate design using a filament tape. And now we're about to apply white Scrofino regular as our texture coat. And I'm just going to demonstrate some nice texturing techniques in which we're broadcasting sand to get a build. We're trying to make it look like stone. The mix ratio is 4.6 liters of CP1000 per bucket of the white Scrofino. And in this case, we're going to have Joe come on in and trowel us a nice uniform layer down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to broadcast sand immediately right into it. So we'll have him go through and get that down. A little bit more where you see the gray coming through. Could you dump them a little there for, please? Okay, now, if you'd bring me that bucket, and I'm just going to go like this. See what I'm doing? I'm just kind of like shaking my margin trowel. You can do, you know, little bit bigger blobs. Let that set for just a second here. Whoop. Hand that to you. Grab a rag. Use this one because that one's like got resin on it or something, or yeah, this one's, yeah, it wants to, exactly. Okay, so now the last and final touch, if you'll do all that knocking down, one last layer of sand here, guys, over everything.